Hey guys, it's Janice here, and welcome to this week's edition of In Between Rounds. This week, I wanted to give you essentially my biggest piece of advice when it comes to your fitness journey or really life in general, because I want you to try to become so obsessed with the process and not the outcome. So instead of focusing everything into that outcome, I'd rather you think of that outcome as more of a bonus because you've adhered to the process. Now, this is really what passion is: to fall in love with behaviors that help benefit you and help you reach your goals, so that is what starts to drive you. Yes, goals are important. I am not saying that. And we all have different goals here. You know, some of us have goals of weight loss, some of us have goals of strength gain, some of us have goals of just committing to a program. And I know it does vary, and it's very important to have those goals to help give us direction. But it's important to note that you're not going to be able to see or measure those goals or see them change all the time. And it's important to note that things like weight loss and fat loss do decrease over time. And so instead of fixating on that end result, it's so important to just enjoy the process, because you're going to find so much more joy in just taking care of yourself if that's where you can put the value. So this is because, as I mentioned, there will be like days and weeks or even many weeks where you are unable to see or measure any type of change. Weight loss change, strength gains. And some weeks just won't work in terms of the ability to measure that. And when that happens, if you've still stuck with the process, basically like you still did the correct thing, you still did what you were supposed to do, whether that was focusing on your diet, maybe getting your workouts in, getting enough sleep. It's so important that you don't lose track of that, because if you start to lose track of all of those great behaviors that you are doing and you focus only on the results, you over time will feel deflated because you won't always see or measure those results. And like if you're someone who weighs themselves daily or measures things even weekly, you're not always going to see the trend in the right direction. And it's important to like think of this analogy. You wouldn't judge a business on their weekly stats, because some weeks they make money, some weeks they make none. It's more important to look at what is that business doing over the year. And that's how you're going to make your decision on, is that a good business or not? And it's really important that you do the same thing to yourself when it comes to your fitness journey and your goals, because things are going to fluctuate. And of course, we want things trending in the right direction, but that trend often happens over time. And so if you're not as focused on, or when it comes to those like personal, when the personal results are less involved, it's going to be easier to stick with it. And I guess it's also important to mention that sometimes those results have other things, other underlying circumstances that are going to affect it. Like, what was your salt intake? Do you have additional stress added this week? It's not as simple as just, getting the workouts in and eating the meals and sleeping right and drinking your water. Those are all really important things, and those are, in my opinion, the most important things. So what I challenge you to do is question yourself. Did I adhere to the process? And then, is the process working? Because if it's not working, meaning maybe you're not seeing the results or the changes, it's important that you collect enough data. So let's say you have 1 week where you don't lose any weight. That's not enough to know that the process isn't working. You need to have at least 3 weeks of data to know if the process is working for you or not. And that's where we can determine what needs to be changed. Perhaps you may realize that you aren't actually calorie deficient if your goal was to lose weight, or maybe you're not working at the right intensity in your workouts. So then things can shift and change when you know for sure that the process isn't working. But guess what? So you stuck with the process for 3 weeks and didn't see the changes you wanted. Guess what? That time was not wasted. You got 3 weeks of quality training in a maintenance zone. That's still great for your habit building, for the movement required to just keep your body and your mind healthy. So make sure that you are giving yourself the credit where credit is deserved. And make sure that you do check in with those goals you have to make sure that the goal or outcome that you've set is realistic. Because oftentimes setting a too aggressive or a goal that is too aggressive, that's generally what causes people to start to think that things like diet or exercise is not for them. So if you're trying to do something that's much too aggressive, doesn't mean you can't continue down that road, but maybe it means just changing it slightly and tweaking it so that it can fit with what you're able to do. And then again, if you can focus on that process, eventually you're going to see the changes that you are hoping to see. So to conclude things, I just find when you focus on the process, you can feel good about doing good things for you and for future you, because these are things like a healthy heart, increased bone density, increased strength, mobility, and independence. And to me, the most important thing, by doing this process now and continuing with it, you're also going to continue to be able to do rad things. And I feel like that is what we all want to do. So I hope you guys are having an awesome week. And please let me know if you do have any questions. You can post them in the comments below. And until next time, I will see you on the internet. Take care.